Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So we're back with another weekly Mandalorian episode review. So this is chapter 11, I believe. We're not going to say the title just yet because we're going to do our non-spoiler review first. So yeah, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a very good episode.
Even though it was two little nitpicks, I guess I want to say, is I'm not 100% sure from even though yesterday's episode was great, I'm not sure if I'm super on board with the whole 35 minutes decreasing the runtime each week thing, because each episode's getting shorter and shorter.
I think it'll pick back up next week, depending on what happens in.
But that being said, this episode was very tightly made, so it didn't waste any time, which felt a lot better. So maybe it's a good thing. Also, the other thing which is a nitpick is they need to, at least in my opinion, the episode titles are good, but they need to stop giving it, because if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, you'll know what everything means. The title of this episode, which we won't say because once you see it, you'll know exactly what it means. We'll say in a few minutes
in the spoiler part.
Yeah, you'll know exactly what it means if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan. So it's just it kind of spoils the surprise, I guess, to a certain extent. But at the same time, I understand why they called it that, but I prefer they didn't. I don't know. That's. But aside from those two extremely minor nitpicks, which aren't really the issues, they're just kind of my personal problems with it. I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was good. I think it does introduce a few ideas that may be left open by the end of the season.
Yeah, there's definitely things here. There's definitely things here that need that will be explained or need to be explained. They regards can't be to certain things they do. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was a really amazing episode. The way it was shot, the characters, the dialogue, I liked all of it.
Yeah, the direction as well. Bryce Dallas Howard did an amazing job this episode. There's one shot where Mando's standing there, and there's a boat off in the distance, and there's the sun there, and something explodes.
I know.
Yeah, it looks so nice. That was one of my favorite shots in this episode and this whole season so far. It looks really good.
I mean, yeah, but aside from that, it's really good. I mean, I think, should we start with our spoiler review now?
Yeah, I'll just say that it's on par with the first episode in my opinion. Especially,
I think I like the first episode a little bit more, but definitely a close second. But,
especially as a huge fan of certain things.
I guess how it depends. Yeah. But that's really it for the non-spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the episode, click off the video now, go and watch the episode whenever you want, and then feel free to come back to this video. So, yeah. But, let's start with spoilers. So, chapter 11, The Heiress. There's the title.
Heiress, which obviously we know is referring to a certain character. Yeah, Bo-Katan, yeah.
Who's, that's a big focus around this episode, the main focus around this episode.
And this whole episode is, kind of revolved around, different ideas of what a Mandalorian is and the kind of Mandalorian culture, I guess.
And I think that was one of the most interesting parts of the episode for me. Because
it answers some questions that a lot of Clone Wars and Rebels fans had, which is where's this taking the helmet off rule? Not taking it off. Where's that rule come from? Because obviously in Clone Wars and Rebels we see them take them off 24/7. But they explain that. I guess we'll get into that later. We'll just go in order.
So I want to talk about the title first. So I thought it was interesting that every title for this season so far is referencing a character in the episode. So I wonder if that'll continue throughout the season. So, because obviously chapter 9 was the
Marshal
Cobb Vanth, the Marshal Cobb Vanth, and then chapter 10 was Passenger, which was the Frog Lady, and then chapter 11 Heiress, which is Bo-Katan. So I wonder if we could see this continue later on throughout the season, where we may see a title called something like the Jedi, which refers to obviously Ahsoka, or if we see one called the Moff, where we see Moff Gideon return in person. I just thought that was a really interesting concept.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, that would be interesting. And I guess then again with season 1, they did that for the first 2 episodes, and they just didn't after that. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But I'm happy that they didn't just like pad it out, like, because especially after this episode, last week's episode felt even more pointless now. Because I didn't think that there was much need to have the whole episode with like the I mean, it was cool, like, so there were some cool scenes in it, but I didn't think that whole last episode with the passenger, the frog lady, was necessary.
I think the frog lady part, I did like it because when, obviously at the start of this episode, we see the frog lady and her husband meet up, and I think that was a really like heartwarming moment. And then I mean, yeah, let's just start from right at the start. So we start with the ship, the Razor Crest, just sort of limping its way towards Trask. Then they pull off Mando pulls off some amazing landing, and then it just sort of falls into the water.
Yeah, it was like Revenge of the Sith, where at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, when the ship's going down, it's like catches fire, and they land, and then Obi-Wan says another happy landing. They should have done that.
There's quite a lot of references to...
I'm happy they didn't do that. I was scared that they were going to make him say another happy landing. Oh, I was like, oh god. But I'm happy.
The thing is, in this episode, I found like 2 or 3 big references to like previous Star Wars like movies.
There's a lot of references in this episode.
I'll mention them when we come to them. But yeah, Mando pulls off the landing. Sort of Razor Crest just falls into the water. It's just, I'm pretty sure that was just there for sort of comedy purposes. Yeah.
That Mon Calamari was funny. The one who was just like, seemed like he wanted to end his own life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see Mon Calamaris as well. Like, there's like loads of them in Quarrens everywhere. It's like classic Star Wars aliens. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, and then we see Frog Lady and husband sort of reunite meet again. A very heartwarming moment. Then we see, obviously, Sasha Banks' character in her cloak thing, who disappears, which we saw in the trailer. So basically, the first half of this epispisode is a lot of the first, like, not even half, like, the 5 minutes of this episode is a lot of the stuff we saw in the trailer. The stuff that we saw in the trailer
where Mando's on the boat and, like, in the water and all that stuff,
Yeah, so then we saw, what else do we see? We see him going to that sort of, restaurant sort of thing.
It's like an inn.
That they point to the inn. Then one like interesting thing I picked up on is Mando refers to the child as his friend in the inn, but then later on in the episode he refers to him as a pet. Well, sort of indicates to him, because when the child points to, I don't remember what it was, but then he goes, I don't need another pet.
Oh, it was the frog. It was the little frog, the tadpole.
Oh yeah, the tadpole thing. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting because in the last episode we saw like a sort of father-son bond between those two building, but then he just refers to him as a friend and then a pet. So
I don't think that really means much because they still have the father-son moments in this episode, like when
he jumps in,
like that, and also when the when that little face hugger looking thing from Alien is in his chowder and then just jumps on his face, and then Mando's like, "Don't play with your food." That was interesting scene. I mean, then we see he talks to Mon Calamari at the inn, and he obviously tells Mando that if you want to find others like you, go on this boat. It's a few hours trip and that. And then he goes on the boat, and it's a trap, which I thought it was interesting. It's kind of like a reference. A Mon Calamari tells him to go with,
and it's a trap. Yeah. So it could be a reference
if that's what they were thinking, that is pretty funny.
Yeah, that could be a reference to Admiral Akbar. But then obviously we see the Mandalorian get trapped. We see obviously the child get eaten up, and this is the point where me and you were saying that we thought this episode could be another like longed out.
Pad it out, just like he's got to go and stop these stupid pirate people who are going to stop him from like meeting the Mandalorians because they've like snaked him out or faked him or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and they didn't do that. They quickly sort of recovered it because obviously Bo-Katan and Mandalorian friends.
Yeah, which is oh my god, that was so sick. She looked so perfect. The armor was amazing.
The armor looks so good.
Yeah, she takes the helmet off. They got the headband, the hair, just everything was perfect. And obviously, it's still Katie Sackhoff who voiced her in Clone Wars and Rebels. And they just got everything perfect with that character. The personality as well. I know you were saying that she was like seeming a bit crazy, but like you didn't. You weren't as like into Clone Wars as I was, were you? So,
no, I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it was crazy that they got everything so perfect and kind of like I didn't think that they'd do that because I had a feeling that Bo-Katan would appear, but I was like, okay, maybe they might screw something up, but no, everything was perfect.
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed is about this episode, like in terms of Bo-Katan stuff like showing up, is that it sort of replicates the first season, episode 3 when the Mandalorian save Din Djarin, like in that episode as well, because obviously
it did, because it was shot exactly the same.
That episode he was saved by Mandalorians as well, obviously the ones in his creed. So I found it interesting that it was sort of mimicking that sort of idea from episode 3.
Except the only difference was in season 1, I think the Mandalorian points out his right hand, I think. Bo-Katan used her left, so I guess that's like imagery, because obviously, as far as we know, they're like different, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Oh, well, that's sort of the next point. The helmet thing that we mentioned.
Yeah, which they sort of explained, but I've still got some questions about it.
I mean, they explained it that Mando's a child of the Watch. The Watch in quotation marks. We don't actually know who they are. They could be
Death Watch.
People we are already familiar with, but they've just changed the name.
Because what I'm thinking is like, the kind of question in my head is how does it work with those Children of the Watch things? Because obviously in season 1, when we saw Mando get rescued by the Mandalorians, the emblem on their shoulder was the Death Watch symbol, wasn't it? So he was rescued by Death Watch, and we don't know obviously what time that takes place in, like, relative to the Clone Wars, but Bo-Katan used to be part of Death Watch as well, so that's kind of raising some questions. And also, if it's after Bo-Katan rules, then does that mean Death Watch kind of like splintered off into their own separate thing, and then like after Darth Maul had gone and all that, and when Bo-Katan was ruling Mandalore, did Death Watch kind of splinter off into their own thing, and then maybe that's when Mando was rescued and all that stuff happened?
I actually don't know, because the thing is with the Watch could refer to the Death Watch, because obviously, as we know, the Death Watch had like different sectors within it. Obviously, like the Night Owls being one of them. So, an interesting thing I thought of is that if it is the Death Watch and it's like a sector of the Death Watch, it could be the sector that followed Darth Maul.
I don't know if they'd do it like that. Maybe they would. I don't know, because I've got a feeling that it's just going to be some sort of like, because Bo-Katan says that they're she said religious zealots who like splintered off from from the main Mandalorian beliefs or something like that. So it's kind of like I think they're going to definitely develop that a lot more, because obviously we don't know what this Children of the Watch thing means as of right now, properly at least. So I think we're definitely going to find out more about this in the next few episodes, and we're going to get more development from that flashback in season 1, like we were saying before.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if it was someone like, if it was like the sector of the Mandalorians that chose to follow Darth Maul when he was in power, or something like that, instead of just being
that could be it. Yeah, that's because I'm skeptical as to whether they'll do that, but that's like a possibility, to be fair.
You know, the thing is, Bo-Katan explains it as like the ones who like separated to like go back to traditional ways.
Yeah, but then that was what Death Watch wanted to do, so it could be part of them, because like Death Watch wanted to go back to like when Mandalorians were like all pacifists and all that kind of stuff. They wanted to go back to those ways, but that was when Bo-Katan was part of Death Watch. Then obviously she after Darth Maul took over Death Watch, she left and went her own way. Yeah,
that was after her sister was killed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then when Darth Maul kills Pre Vizsla and claims the Darksaber.
I think that even if Bo-Katan is saying this, like her own explanation of who the Child of the Watch are,
that
could still be like false because Mando doesn't actually know much about his own creed. It's weird because
he knows about like the Children of the Watch stuff, but he doesn't know about like the actual Mandalorian ways that we've obviously been told in Clone Wars and Rebels, which is interesting because that's like the stuff that's one thing I'm kind of like, I don't know if it completely makes sense that how is Mando like so unfamiliar with everything. Like he doesn't know anything about his own universe. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about the Jedi, and he's clearly never heard of like Luke Skywalker or anything. So, I mean, I don't really know how Mando's like that unfamiliar with everything unless he's just kind of like been sheltered by the Mandalorians and just kind of kept into that society and belief system.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be like, these are all questions that are going to be answered either later on this season or next season. Or possibly, apparently, a Bo-Katan spin-off series, which people are thinking.
Yeah, that's been rumoured, hasn't it? Yeah, so it could be.
We could see, obviously, I think we should move on from this now, because we don't really want to dive into this too much.
Because we don't know everything yet.
Sasha Banks' character is not Sabine. We find out, which
it's a new character,
debunks everyone's rumor. Her name is Koska Reeves, I believe,
which is
in the show.
Yeah, which is good because it's like keep making new stuff. You don't have to have all the old stuff. Like it's good to have old stuff every once in a while. And if they do it, I want them to do it like this, where like Bo-Katan is actually tied into the story, not just there because everyone likes Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I do like the two new Mandalorians, even though they don't do much. Do look very cool.
Yeah, and they were pretty cool characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So then Mando leaves because he's like, this is not the way of the Mandalore. He says the only way is the way of the Mandalore, and then just flies off.
Yeah, because he doesn't believe in their like stuff, like their beliefs.
I think that one thing I just want to say. I think when Mando was brought up as a foundling, he was whoever just like taught him his ways would have been very ignorant to the Mandalorians that do.
But not ignorant. They would have been like they would have like kind of shunned them aside, wouldn't they? Because they didn't believe in that system. They just wanted to go back to the old times, didn't they?
So I think we see that like sort of attitude reflecting through Mando as well. So yeah. But he's confronted by more of those aliens. I don't know what they're called. You probably know the term.
Which ones? Oh, the Quarrens. The guy when the guy says you killed my brother.
Yeah.
The Quarrens.
And then he's saved again by Bo-Katan and her Mandalorians.
And then Bo-Katan obviously says to him that come and have a drink with us. Basically, we'll tell you about all this sort of stuff, and then she reveals, of course, that she can lead Mando to a Jedi. So
yes,
that comes up later in the episode, and she
doesn't expand on it like in that scene.
In that scene, but we're all pretty sure who she's talking about because it's like fairly obvious.
So yeah, basically, Bo-Katan reveals her plan that she wants to take back Mandalore and then
get the Darksaber back off Moff Gideon.
Well, she doesn't actually.
She doesn't say that, but if you've watched Clone Wars and Rebels, you'll know what she means.
She says what did she say? She says, "I need something if I'm to rule Mandalore."
Yeah, if I'm to rule Mandalore, which is of course we know the Darksaber.
And obviously Mando doesn't probably know what the Darksaber is because he doesn't know anything about it.
But he probably knows. He probably knows what it is. Maybe
he knows what it is, but he doesn't know Moff Gideon has it. I think.
He doesn't know Moff Gideon has it. Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting because Mando and Bo-Katan don't realize that they have a common enemy, and if they did realize that, they could obviously work together.
Yeah, which I think and also Bo-Katan does say that if you want to help me, the offer still stands. So I think that she's definitely going to come back at some point.
Yeah,
I think that's all we're going to see of Bo-Katan.
I think it'd be nice to see her once before the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. And we get the whole cool like Imperial prison, not prison ship, cargo ship sequence. That part was sick. The choreography in that was really good.
The action was so good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And obviously we see them hauling some Imperial weapons, and then Bo-Katan goes with Mando and kills some people.
Mando's when he uses those sort of grenade things.
The charges,
Yeah, the charges. It was like he was willing to sort of not sacrifice himself, but put himself in the way of danger.
Well, he had Beskar armor on. He wasn't going to get shot. If he gets shot, just deflect off. He'd be fine.
True. But I think it was showing that he is sort of willing to help out fellow Mandalorians, I guess, because
he was only really helping out to find out where the Jedi is.
Yeah, but then obviously we see all that. There's a few comedy scenes there as well, because we see one of the Imperial sort of commanders, or like one of them on the ship. He's like, they've locked us in. He goes, where have they locked you in? The cargo hold. And they open it and they all go flying out. I thought that was quite funny. And then so we see all that take place. Then we see Bo-Katan saying to Mando that we're gonna actually steal this shit instead of
the Mando's like, this isn't what I signed up for.
You're changing the deal, basically changing the terms of the deal, and that kind of reminded me of Empire.
Yeah, it was Darth Vader. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it was like,
when Vader
says, I don't alter it any further.
Don't alter it any further. Yeah. I thought that was really sort of.
I don't even know if that's a callback, but it just reminded me of that.
I think it did remind a lot of people of it, to be fair, which I like those sort of indirect callback sort of things. I think they're really cool. So yeah,
and then but also we have Bo-Katan mentioned straight out that the Darksaber is what she's after, because obviously she goes after that Imperial guy, and also the pilot of the ship. He kills his two subordinates, I guess, and just puts the ship into a nosedive because Moff Gideon tells him to. Moff Gideon says, "Long live the Empire," obviously, so they're willing to like make sacrifices like that, I guess. And also,
welcome back, Moff Gideon. First time we've seen him since
Yeah, obviously he wasn't in there a huge amount, but he's still being just his typical evil self. And then the part that I thought was pretty interesting was that they kind of like do some like Nazi imagery with the Empire, which obviously is typical for the Empire. But when Bo-Katan's like got the knife to his neck, and then she says, he says that he'll kill me too. So then he just bites his like jaw down and then electrocutes himself and kills himself, like how the Nazis would with cyanide pills. I think it was. They had them like implanted in their teeth to bite down on them and kill themselves if someone like captures them. So interesting imagery there.
Well, I didn't catch that one, but then again, I don't know much about that. So yeah.
Yeah. So interesting imagery.
I think it's good to see that like Remains of the Empire is still going strong, I guess.
Yeah, and
like even with their beliefs and stuff.
They'll still be the main villains, and then obviously after that we get the just huge bombshell and reveal that Bo-Katan tells Mando, once they've solved everything, that go to the forest moon of Corvus. She said
Corvus, yeah.
And you'll find Ahsoka Tano there, and tell her Bo-Katan sent you. So this is just opened a whole wormhole of potential things that could happen. My guess is that Ahsoka's not going to show up in the next episode. She'll show up in the episode after, because the next episode is directed by Carl Weathers. I think that's when Grief and Cara will show up, and then after that is Dave Filoni's episode. So I think that's when Ahsoka will show up.
I think it would make sense for like Dave Filoni's episode to be the one with Ahsoka, because that's like
cause it's his character.
That's like his main contribution to Star Wars, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that the next episode will be a sort of. I think the next episode will be where Mando goes to pick up Grief and Cara, saying, "I need your help, so let's just go, just in case I need backup or something." Because right now it's only him and the child, and the child hasn't actually done anything effective in terms of like combat or anything this season. It's kind of just taking a back seat and just like chilling. So I think next episode will be sort of. Maybe not. I don't want to say filler episode, but an episode where it goes off track.
But it's gonna be them getting the Razor Crest repaired properly, and then getting Grief and Cara back involved, which will be good. So I like those characters.
And then we'll see, obviously, episode 5 Ahsoka.
Yeah,
possibly Sabine, Ezra, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? But and then after that, we see the Mon Calamari, and obviously Mando goes to get the child off the frog lady who. He left the child with her at the towards the start of that mission that he went on with Bo-Katan, and then we see that Mon Calamari again. He just made the ship like just look completely messed up, and then he just says to him, "I paid you 1,000 credits, and all you did was this." And then the Mon Calamari just like, "Get out of my face," basically.
He said, "I didn't say I'll fix it. I'll say I can make it fly or something."
Yeah. And then we see them go up into space, and there's that weird face hugger looking thing is there again, and it tries to jump on the
It's a bigger one this time.
Yeah, no. And then Mando just grabs it and smushes it, and then that's the episode. Fantastic.
Very short though. It felt short as well. Like
it felt quick though. Like they actually did stuff in this episode, like that. Because even though the last episode was like 40 minutes long, it felt so much longer because nothing was really happening. Whereas with this,
I know
like
they did make a lot of progress this episode in a short amount of time, which I think it's okay. Like the balance, I think the next episode could be. I think the next episode could follow the same way. Is that it might be a bit longer, but it might be a bit of not like a pointless episode, but there won't be much narrative pushing that episode. And then episode 5 could be maybe like a 35-minute one, but we see a lot of Ahsoka and stuff, and learn a lot about, just what's going on with the child and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. An amazing episode overall, and then just very excited for the Mandalorian in the future.
Yeah. So
and obviously with that episode, we got a lot of action figure reveals as well for Star Wars. We got a Moff Gideon Black series coming out and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, pretty much that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say as well.
Alright, so thank you everyone for watching this video. If you stayed to the end, this was I think this has been our longest review so far of the
a lot to happen in the 35 minutes.
Yeah, so hopefully you got all the information you came for out of this review. And if you did, don't forget to like, subscribe for more. Go and follow our Instagram. We post daily and weekly updates on there. And overall, thank you for watching this video.
Yep, so we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.